Hello and welcome back to the Gulag Café. It is with heavy heart, comrades, we come to you tonight. We must mark this moment in history as great downfall of communism. Evil, decrepit capitalist Donald Trump and MAGA, horrible fascists, have struck great blow to global communism. Comrade Chris, please take away.
Indeed, greetings, Tovarishi. I bring, as Comrade Yiz has begun to elucidate, grave news in the cause of incredible international socialism. Enemy of communism and enemy of the people, Donald Trump, and his running dog and lackey, Elon Musk, have struck incredible, fatal blow against international communism by taking down excellent comrades at U.S. Agency for International Development. You may not know this, comrades, but in fact, the ash-filled pierogies that were supposed to be on the menu for tonight were actually funded by USAID. In response to cuts in funding, we will instead be serving stick salad. Please hope that you all enjoy. If you wish the sticks to be cooked, then that will be extra 5 ration books. 5.
Well, in all seriousness, guys, welcome back to Gulag Cafe. We like to have a lot of fun here. For those of you that may be new around here, Empire of Lies is our more serious, prepared Thursday night stream, and we mix it up with Gulag Cafe, which is us just, blowing off steam, talking about current events, that kind of thing. And today we're going to be talking about the first 2 weeks of Trump and all the crazy shit that's gone on. We're going to give some hot takes on some things. We're going to pontificate a bit about what we believe might be going on with a certain special ally in the Middle East. We have a lot of things lined up to talk about tonight. Unlike Empire of Lies, we will not be putting off your paid chats until the end. I have Cash App open on the phone, and I've got all the sites open. And whatever you guys want to send in your dollary dues, Chris and I would both deeply appreciate it. I will read them as we can get to them during the stream. And like always, I split the proceeds of this stream series 50-50 with my main man, Chris, here. And we both deeply appreciate your financial support. We can take rants on Rumble, hyper chats on Odyssey, tips on Subscribestar, which I do split with him. I don't split the monthly subscriptions if you're a monthly sub to me, but any tips you send in, we do split. And also short messages on Cash App and PayPal that will round out the way that you can support. Also, if you are a Bitcoin trader type of person, Chris set up a Bitcoin wallet, which the description is in the link is in the description below, if you'd like to share some Bitcoin with us. So there you have it.
Indeed, Tovarishi, funds are more important than ever since we have been cut off from USAID. Of course, we were taking money as independent media organization from Soros Fund of Peace, Sustainability, and General Enjoyment. If you wish us to keep bringing you the latest news from the UK Soviet Socialist Republic, please send your filthy capitalist dollars. Indeed, if you are some kind of capitalist and you wish to atone for your capitalist sins, we will take that money off you. If you send it to us, then it has been for good cause, and you can forget all capitalist sins. We will put it towards eating a deep-fried rat, which is quite a cuisine in UK Soviet Socialist Republic.
Well then, I have opened the PayPal and all the other stuff now. And oh, I forgot to make Entropy live. Give me just a second, and I will do that real quick, guys. I knew I was forgetting something. Right. I went to start Entropy before the stream began, and Odyssey shit itself, and I had to go through a rigmarole getting it recalibrated, and I forgot to set up Entropy. Give me just a second. I'll fire that up.
Greetings to everybody in the chat. Then, while Yiz is
hello, everyone.
To horrible capitalist needs, of course, but we do it all for you to help you assuage the sins of capitalism. Is very, very important. Think of us.
We already have an Entropy, Chris. Old Texas man, good old supporter of Chris's that followed us over here, sends us $10, $5 for each of us, and he just says money. Well, thank you for moneying us good, moneying us now. We appreciate that.
Money, please. Thanks very much, Texas, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. So before we get started, then, Chris, is there anything you want to preface what we're going to talk about tonight? Or do you want to just bring up the master list and get to it?
Yeah. So we're just gonna go through the first 2 weeks of Trump. It's been amazing, man. Like, there's been a thing going around that the lesson from Trump is going to be that government can just do things. This is clearly something that the rest of the governments in places like the EU and the UK absolutely do not wish the plebs getting into, their little soft heads, right? It's a bit like, you take a child out and they're like, oh, I want ice cream. I mean, you can't have ice cream, but Billy gets ice cream. It's going to be basically like that. They'll be like, America gets to not have net zero and not eat the bugs. Why can't we? I'm cold. I'm hungry. Electricity costs like $1 gajillion. Like, I don't want to live by a candle. You'll fucking live by the candle and you'll like it, you little bastards. So yes, let's in Smolin.
Yeah, we'll in Smolin, and we're going to go through some stuff. Trump and the crew, the Doge crew, been doing a lot of stuff. Project 2025 is rattling a lot of cages. But I remind you, like always, do not huff the copium. Don't think that Mr. Trump is going to be the mega Führer and be the white savior and all that. We all know that ain't true. Just keep an even keel through all this. Be happy when good stuff happens. If bad organizations get the axe, that's a good thing.
Shit,
but
man, I mean, he doesn't have to be the white savior. Did you see that picture of him? Wait, let me bring it up. The picture of him signing the anti-transgender sports bill.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, like it's so crazy, right? It's literally like some kind of weird Renaissance art, right? Wait, just let me pull this up. This is like amazing. Okay. If you haven't seen it, right?
All right. I have not seen it.
Oh, look, Caravaggio should do like a version of it, except this is too light for Caravaggio. Look at this.
Oh wow.
This looks like it was painted by Norman Rockwell.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Right? It's just insane. Like how hot. Look at all the white people. Oh my god,
it's wonderful. I love it.
Oh my god, it's a bit racist, bro. Right? Like, where's all the diversity? Where are the trannies? Where are all the Marxists? It just looks like genuine, wholesome white people. Oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
Oh, hey, we have a bunch of people saying howdy over on Rumble. Hello, everybody. I don't know who Pretty Lynthia is, but hello, Pretty. Oh, wait, no, that has to be Linda because she sent a salute and a rose. That has to be Linda. Hello, Linda. Good to see you over on Rumble, sister. And we have all the usuals in the chat. We even have our King Green Moon. Good to see you tonight, friend. We've got No White Guilt like usual. We have Paul, Sonny, Jim, Ashley Styles, Big O's. Stumbling is here. Very good. And Lomax, Chris, said that he sent us some important messages over on Discord for me to read right now. And I will be looking at this. So you go ahead and start talking through stuff, and I'm going to read these messages. Lomax says I need to read them right now. So I'm going to get on that. So go ahead. Chris, you're muted. Chris, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Trump has seized the cock and balls of executive power in a way that no president before him has done. Of course, the executive power is essentially the antidote to things like the deep state. The whole problem with bureaucracy is that it builds up sort of like layers and layers of like cruft and general mess, making it impossible for any actual executive action to function. This is kind of its point. And over time, it winds up being the administrative state that in fact rules rather than the person that was elected. We see this all over the world. The UK is in exactly the same state. He has passed so many executive orders that you literally have to list them 25 like to a page, and it's still like 4 pages or something like that, right? So new to the State Department, not enforce TikTok, protect the borders. Terrible that. Imagine the US military protecting the US border. I thought we had all agreed by this point that the job of the US military was to protect the borders of Syria and Ukraine and Iraq and places like that. I can't believe it. Fascism is what that is. Having strong borders is clearly fascism. Declares that the US policy recognizes two sexes. Oh my God. More fascism. Calls on cabinet secretaries to create a list of cartels to consider as designation as terrorist organizations. Designating the cartels as terrorist organizations is also fascism. Ending DEI, fascism.
Lomax, the thing that Lomax sent is like a big 2-paragraph rundown of everything that's happened. You want me to read it? I could read it real quick.
Yeah, sure. If it's good, yeah.
It seems pretty cool. Lomax put a lot of work into this, and Lomax Designs is the guy who did the intro for Chris's Happening and My Discordant Dragons. Extremely talented audio video artist. He's very good at building all the video stuff for our intros. So I'll make this fast. It's pretty long. Lomax said, in light of the title of the Gulag Café tonight, allow me, he said. So here we go. Elon Musk buys Twitter. Trump's mugshot. Trump destroys Biden in presidential debate. Iconic image taken at the failed assassination attempt. R.I.P. Corey Comparator. 2 other assassination attempts fail. Donald Trump does fantastic publicity stunt at McDonald's. J.D. Vance and Trump give impactful interviews on Joe Rogan. Musk endorses Trump. SpaceX rocket catch. Vivek backs Trump. Bannon released from prison. RFK and Tulsi Gabbard join Republicans. Attempts to lock up Trump fail. Hulk Hogan performs at Trump rallies. John Jones and other UFC fighters praise Trump. Sylvester Stallone backs Trump. Huge rally held at Madison Square Garden with virtually no protest. Trump wins every swing state. Republicans take the House and Senate. Trump wins popular vote for the first time in 4 Republican presidential victories. Democrats don't contest the results. Patriots buy the border wall materials and sell them back to the new administration without taking profit. Doge is formed. Tulsi Gabbard nominated for DNI. Kash Patel nominated for FBI director. Pam Bondi sworn in as AG. Hegseth sworn in as defense secretary. RFK nominated health and human services secretary. Carrie Lake selected to lead Voice of America. Carrie Underwood delivers exceptional impromptu a cappella at Trump's inauguration. Ceasefire in Gaza. Trump signs popular executive order in front of a live crowd. J6 was pardoned. Ross Ulbricht pardoned. Trump ends DEI. TikTok announced it'll either be shut down or paired with U.S. dual ownership. Trump fires numerous TSA and ASAC lead staff. Trump takes question after question from the press while signing dozens of executive orders. ICE begins to arrest thousands now of illegal aliens. Dr. Phil joins Tom Homan on to televise ICE arrest. Illegal immigration drops to next to nothing. Large tariffs placed on Mexico, Canada, China. The Laken Riley Act is passed into law. $300 billion invested into the U.S. By SoftBank. Musk goes to war with UK government and exposes the grooming scandal to the U.S. Trump visits California to warm reception by firefighters. FEMA to be dismantled. Trump pulls out of the Paris Climate Accords. The U.S. end involvement in the World Health Organization. Trump and Javier Milei visit the World Economic Forum and beat the hell out of them. Caroline Leavitt delivers first speech as press secretary and nails it. Online media groups are invited to the White House press briefings. Ron DeSantis joins with Trump to tackle illegal immigration. JFK assassination documents released to the public. RFK exposes Liz Warren as a shill for Big Pharma in his confirmation hearing. Kash Patel owns the Democrats in this confirmation hearing. Trump travels to South Carolina and is greeted with praise from the victims of the national disaster. It's North Carolina. Trump, well, I don't know, maybe he went to South Carolina, but the disaster relief is in North Carolina. Trump designates the Mexican cartel as a terrorist organization. The president of Colombia completely buckles to Trump's force and takes back illegals at his expense. Oil drilling in Alaska is unleashed through executive order. Trudeau resigns. J6s appear on Timcast to give fascinating accounts. QAnon shaman turns out to be incredibly well-informed and well-spoken American patriot. Top FBI officials forced to resign. Trump opens communication with Russia for talks and peace. Concerning Ukraine. Doge rips through USAID. Trump signs executive order to ban men competing in women's sports. Pam Bondi shuts down sanctuary cities and pursues the death penalty for violent offenders. Finally, Canada and Mexico buckle to Trump's tariff and puts troops and policy into action to stop the flow of fentanyl. Bukele invites Trump to send deported illegals from other countries to be imprisoned in his facilities. Thank you, Lomax.
And it's certainly a great kind of thing we're seeing about Trump. What is it that he's going to do next? Yes, that's an incredible list there by Lomax Design. I'm speaking very, very fast, like I'm some kind of 1930s radio reporter, because that's the way I got to do these kinds of things, hey?
That was cool, Lomax, and I appreciate it, man. I'm sure that took a lot of work. Thank you for making that giant Micro Machine Man style delivery there.
So we've got more. He makes Doge. He pulls security clearances from the M51 intelligence professionals. Repeals like a ton of like Biden stuff. It just goes on and on. Actually, Steve Bannon did a really interesting interview with GB News America. I would highly recommend that you watch it. Bannon's a very sharp guy. Talks like a he talks like a motorboat. That guy Steve Bannon, he's one to watch, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a mouth like a sharp stick. And Bannon's just basically saying, yeah, look, if you're not prepared to like get shot at or go to prison, you really shouldn't be in politics. It's a really, because for quite a while, right? Like, politics was this, very sedate kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, so we're going to do politics and sit around in the club. Yeah, well, not anymore. Not anymore. Now you're going to take a bullet to the face and get locked in the Gulag, right? Like, everybody knows it. It's a new era. So yeah, there's tons of it. They've been moving so fast. I saw a great thing on Twitter. Actually, people were saying that someone was saying that the New York Times app is basically broken at this point, because the normal sort of feedback loop that the mainstream press would use, where they hear a story, the editors get like the call from the higher ups, and then they get the editors and tell them the spin, and they write the thing. They don't have time to do it. So they're just reduced to, get this. I know this is the most horrible thing, just reporting what's happened.
The horror.
I can't believe the New York Times reporting what's actually happened. Lord and saints preserved us.
What has happened?
Fallen in? Is this the upside down?
Oh, hey, we just got an entropy from our good friend Hunger Merchant. Hunger Merchant sends us $15 US. Thank you, Hunger Merchant.
Thank you,
he
Hunger.
says, Mr. President, I'm not tired of winning yet. There's so much more winning to do. Lock them up. Lock them up. Thank you very much, Hunger.
We're going to be doing so much winning. You're gonna be tired of winning. You're gonna be like waking up and be like, I've been winning for so long, mate. The question on everyone's lips, really, right? Is he going to audit the fucking Fed, right? Or is he just going to hang that over the Fed as a threat, right? To get them to do what he wants. I mean, this is the the $6 gajillion question, right? He's apparently, I just got news today. Apparently, Doge has turned up at the NIH, at the National Institute of Health, and everyone's like, "Ooh, you're fucked now! Oh, you're gonna get it now! Trump is back, baby. We're gonna find out about all the stuff you did with COVID. We're gonna find out. It's very, very bad. People did a lot of bad stuff around COVID. We're gonna find out. Of course." Should we move on to USAID, or do we want?
Sure, if you want to. Yeah, let's talk about it.
I mean, there's just so many of these. Like this is 25 entries a page.
Yeah,
54 entries. Right? Like it's amazing, right? Like you can just do stuff. It's incredible. Withdrawal from the WHO. Ending DEI. Wait, did I already do these ones? Banning trans surgeries, nice. Additional measures to combat anti-Semitism. Celebrating America's 250th birthday. That sounds really good. I'm going to go to that. That sounds like awesome, honestly.
I'm also happy that he is giving the axe to the Department of Education. It's not needed. All of the cancer that we have in schools is because of that. Like it is a godsend that the Department of Education is being shut down. Like education will be so much better now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And again, once give it a couple of years and everyone sees how well America's doing, this model is going to start to replicate itself, because the whole sort of previous paradigm has been relied on governments being like, oh yeah, everything's falling to hell. I wish there was something we could do about it, but we just can't. We just, we wish we could limit our power in some way and stop being so fake and gay. But we just, we can't. There's nothing we can do about it. Sorry, right? Everyone's going to look to the US and be like, there is something you could do about it, right? You could stop all the fuckery. So it's gonna be interesting.
let's go ahead and jump into USAID because there's also a bunch I want to talk about Israel and shit and Gaza later. So let's do the USAID and then we'll wrap up with Gaza and Israel.
So it turns out that USAID has basically infected the entire world. The full reach of the USAIDs has yet to be fully realized, in my opinion. It's look, they've not only been sort of doing coups in foreign governments, propping up all these like retarded media outlets, all those like media outlets that were pushing all that like anti-white stuff, all the trans stuff. Tons of those were getting money from USAID, and so was Gamergate, right?
So was Gamergate. Yep.
Even Gamergate, right?
US AIDS was funding feminist frequency. Yes. You guys remember Anita Sarkeesian and all that shit?
Yeah.
Like apparently they were getting USAIDs.
Yeah. Everybody's got USAIDs.
AIDS for everyone.
They were paying Politico to trash Gamergators. My white male loners. We need more diversity. Like it's insane how far the tentacular molestation goes, right? Like,
and don't forget the second largest chunk of money funding the BBC was USAIDs as well.
Yes. Well, actually, I'm not sure, but the BBC
on the chart that was going around Twitter, there was a big one that was bigger than USAID's, and then it looked like the second biggest one.
Yeah, it's about 8%. So the BBC just lost about 8% of its funding. No doubt the government at the moment is furiously trying to figure out how they can tax the UK citizens in order to pay for this thing that everybody hates. But they need to have it, right? Like, if the BBC weren't there, how would they know, right, that the only happy couples in the UK are black man, white woman? How would they know, right? Like, what I mean? How would they get the delicious message of white erasure, bros, right? And as if this wasn't bad enough, 20% of Reddit's groups are suddenly unmoderated, right?
Yeah.
Now, this has been known for a while, right? That a lot of Reddit is run out of Elgin Air Force Base. They've got like a glow shop set up there, presumably getting money from the USAIDs. A lot of these like censorship organizations, like I presume CSIS, I think, was being funded. Nina Jankovic's outfit, the Center for Information Integrity, just all of these glow shops that are basically like, hey, we must fight the misinformation and the disinformation and the malinformation. It's polluting the information environment. And it was obvious that these shops were getting funded by glowies of some kind. But the revelation that it's basically all just coming from the US government is amazing. Now,
before we move on, we have a bunch of paid chats.
Right. Okay, well, just let me finish up. I'm not suggesting that there are not other funding sources apart from USAIDs. In fact, I'm sure that they're going to try and suck as much money out of Europe as physically possible to keep this whole thing going. But I would say that USAID was the most girthy tentacle in that particular octopus. Right. Please go on Super Chats.
First, Arden Party brought something to our attention. He says the University of Manitoba-led program tackling HIV in Kenya is in jeopardy due to USAID's being cut. How ironic.
Oh, no.
You cut out the AIDS, you stop tackling HIV. Very good. Hey, Africa loves AIDS. Let them have it all. All right. Moving on, we have $5 from recent supporter June M over on Subscribestar. Thank you, sister. She sends us $5 to say it's so fun to be here live. Thank you and much love. Well, you're welcome, sister. Over on Entropy, we have $3 from Dove Life. The Egypt USAIDs is a partnership between U.S. and Egyptian higher education institutions. In other words, the implementation of the anti-white curriculum in the developing world. Yes, exactly. They want to teach the whole world that white people should give up their culture, give up their heritage for anybody else on the planet, except white people, of course. And we have Texas Man back in again, and he sent us $10 to remind us all that Mr. Fist loves the BBC.
I do. Well, I live in the UK, so I kind of have to love it. It's actually mandated.
It's mandated
by government. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And over on PayPal, Dawn Sanderson sends us in $20 Australian to say happy birthday, Linda Hunter. Well, happy birthday, Linda.
Thank you. Just remember, if you're in Australia and you're hailing a taxi, be very, very, very careful, right? You can now get jail time if you hail a taxi in the wrong way, right? Just want to hope that no one like starts up a taxi company called like Zeeg Taxis, because if they do, right, people are going to be in trouble, right? You like, know, if you're hailing a taxi, always remember, be conscious of where your right arm is. You don't want to go to jail, right?
All right, that's all the page chats I see now. We can move on.
Okay, right. So, what else we got? Oh yeah, someone Cthulhu Loves You just sent this to me as well, like just before the show. What a surprise! Before it was shuttered, USAID routed funds to Soros-aligned causes, terrorists, and drag queens. Oh, imagine my shock!
Imagine that!
Imagine my shock! Now, this again, I'll repeat this. Right, the way these philanthropy psychopaths were working is it's not their money. This is what you call a public-private partnership, baby. Blended finance, right? Which means they put up $1 million. They influence the government to put up $10 million, right? So this is how it works. They don't put up all of their money. Now, the hope, of course, is that because of this, the influence of these organizations and shitbags like Soros is going to be massively nerfed because, okay, Soros may be a rich individual, but he's nowhere near got the funds and the reach and the resources of an organization like USAID. So, I'm really hoping that, look, they've even been paying to monitor 4chan. I don't know any 4chaners in the crowd. The amount of shill posting on 4chan has dropped. Like, it's just gone through. That 4chan is suddenly a much nicer place to be, surprisingly, right?
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
And also, I'd like to point out, just like with WikiLeaks, just like with the Twitter files being released, and now all of this stuff, it's kind of wonderful when you live in the land of dissidents and conspiracy theories and tinfoil time, and these giant info drops sort of prove everything you've been banging on about for years. Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah, it
feels
does.
Good. It feels very good.
I mean, it was so clear that, as I was saying, like, this money was coming from somewhere, because so many of these outlets like couldn't possibly survive in the free market, right? Like, for free market chads out there, right? This is what we kept saying. I mean, I'm sure they've been funneling money to like video game makers as well.
Yep.
For all the so a lot of the reason why we wound up with horrible games like Veilguard and
it's because they weren't allowed to fail.
Yeah, well, that's right. But also because, they presumably like lean on and sort of basically groom these people, right? And like groom them up and be like, oh, well, you're basically a nobody, but you're black and trans or whatever, here, have a radio show or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I really hope as well, now that USAID has been outed, it will no longer be a good thing to have that on your resume. Right. So previously, right, like anyone who, oh yes, we had a radio station, promoting diversity and trans inclusion. We got funding from USAID. And of course, right, like, they always say, oh, we're funding independent media. No, you're not. You're not funding media like this. We're independent media, technically.
Yeah.
We're never going to get a fucking dime of USAID because I wear a US condom. Always.
Dawn says that 60,000 federal employees have now accepted Trump's buyout offer.
Nice.
I hope that's true. I hope that number grows too. Get them out.
Mm-hmm.
Clear them out. Get out of here.
Get out.
We don't need you.
Get in the crystal.
Get in the crystal.
It's the best crystal. You're going to love it in there.
Get in.
For the people, for the diverse people, we've even got crystals of color. You're going to love it. So yeah, it's just this Glow network is insane.
This stumbling brings up a good point here that I want to talk about. He says he wonders if Vosh got any USAID. Vosh is riddled with USAIDs.
Yes.
All of the bread tubers, it has been proven that bread tube is basically a product of this beast. That all of these bread tubers got uplifted, popularized, and funded not just from USAID's money, but because of that system, I don't think there even would be a bread tube if it wasn't for all of the money being funneled in. And we all know that YouTube became the number one big dog because of getting shunted millions and millions of US dollars in the beginning. So it's all kind of a product of that. And I definitely think that BreadTube would not exist as we know it if it wasn't for USAID's.
Philosophy Tube got directly funded. I saw an article on that. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Vosh got funding. And also remember, right, because of the way ecosystems like YouTube work, you can disguise funding very, very easily, right?
Don linked me the thing on Twitter. Here you go.
Right. You could just spin up some kind of glow shop that just goes around, you know, super chatting your favorite communists, right? There's no way to tell. Like USAID could like spin out a grant for 100,000 and just instruct someone, go on our favorite shows, like, you know, give half of it to Hassan Piker, give half of it to Vosh, you know, right? And of course, I'm pretty sure as well, this is why all these like anti-vax channels like absolutely lifted off during the pandemic. All these people who know nothing about disease. Like, I have a degree in molecular biology. Yeah, but you don't know anything apart from molecular biology. Oh, I'm not gonna get started. Right. Oh, here we go. We have okay, let me open this. Wrong bloody window. Where are we? Okay. Yep, 600,000 federal employees have accepted Trump's buyout offer with numbers still growing. Oh, what a shame. What a shame, bro. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Now, we've also got this guy, Darren Beatty. I bet you looked this up.
Yeah, Darren Beatty. Darren Beatty, or it could be Beatty. I've only ever heard it pronounced Beatty, so don't quote me on how it's said. But it's interesting that this guy is like look at his profile. Like click on his name and go to his profile. This guy is a proud Jew, according to his own bio. Proud Jew, right? Well, he's also pro-white. And, you know, you can say, oh, sus, oh, containment, oh, fellow white manipulator. Yeah, well, he's got a long history of kind of being pro-patriot, pro-ethno for the whites in the West. So I've met a couple of these guys at meetups who do have Jewish family and are Jewish by blood, but they don't identify as Jewish. They are Christian. They're not Jewish as a religion. They don't like Israel. They aren't Zionists, and they consider themselves white, and they consider themselves pro-white on the side of American patriots. I've met a few of these guys. I know they exist. I don't think they're all lying, especially the poor ones that have no connections. So I find it interesting that the media recently drugged this guy for being a racist and a white supremacist because he simply made a very casual statement that competent white men need to be in charge if you want things to work. You know, Jason Kuna bangs on about this on his channel all the time. Like, it's just true. This is just a true statement that when you start removing the people from a massive complex system that made that complex system possible, and you just get rid of all those guys, well, then big surprise, nothing works right anymore. But so it's like that
sounds like racism to me. Yeah, racism.
Yeah, that sounds very
I can't believe I'm hearing such racism. Why is this guy even allowed to be alive? Saying there's such a thing as a competent white man. Oh my God! Don't you know it's 2025?
But I wanted to talk about this guy first to sort of preface what we're going to talk about with Trump, Israel, the United States, Gaza, all this stuff. I wanted to sort of preface this. One of the things that I've said for a long time is individual metrics and group metrics do not predict each other. For example, just because African is the most violent and rapey race on the planet, it does not mean that most Black people are, nor does it mean that it guarantees or makes it likely that a Black person you know who is nice and a responsible citizen who lives beside you is going to all of a sudden start burning shit down and trying to rape your daughter. Like, we all know that those two things do not predict each other. And you can say the same things about Jewish power, Zionists, the psycho-Israelis that are around Netanyahu that tell him all the crazy Jewish religious stuff, the weirdo Kabbalah people. Like, Jews, of course, are not a monolith, just like white people aren't a monolith, just like Muslims aren't a monolith. And I want you to keep that in mind for what we will talk about next. This Beatty guy I looked into, not very long today. I looked into stuff for about 10 minutes on him. I didn't find anything that made him look like a duplicitous fellow white. he seems pretty legit. Like, he really is an American patriot. He's blatantly pro-white, and he's part of the government. And he was just recently, you can go ahead and go to the article if you want, the article I linked that goes with Beatty here. This is a new speechwriter for him. And this guy, that's him sitting right there. He looks sort of like a chubby Jewish Edward Dutton, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
But this guy is open about America being for a particular kind of white person, a particular blend of, you know, Anglo and North European people as it was meant to be from the origin, and he believes it still should be for those people. And like anybody intelligent, you know, anyone else who is on our team and supports us in that vision, he thinks is fine. And so he's not some kind of like, you know, these neo-Nazi LARPers that like says ugly stuff, but he's very much what I would consider to be like an old school American patriot that is just honest about race and honest about racial differences. And, you know, so very agreeable to someone like me, despite him having Jewish ancestry.
It does look like the the section of Western Jewry that have really supported mass migration. And, you know, I get their reasons, right? It looks like they're in for a bad time now, right? It looks like they have been thoroughly discredited. And I really hope that sort of like that's the way, and that, you know, because the Jews aren't a monolith, you know, right? Like, you know, they have their fights, and I would really hope that they would come around and basically be like, you know, actually we really like whites, you know, and like, you know, we should stop bashing on them and stuff like that. You know, there aren't any white people in Gaza, you know, like, you know, so that would be great. That would be really nice. And I think if they did that as well, they would probably take the sting out of a lot of the anti-Jewish sentiment that he's been building in countries like America and the UK, because of the sort of the conspicuous nature of some sectors of the Jewish community in support of mass migration. So having them come out and say, we're against mass migration, you know, we like white countries, would be really good. And I'm all for that, honestly.
Yeah, one of the guys that I've met who's Jewish but considers himself on our side and doesn't even consider himself to be Jewish. I won't say his name. He's not a public face at all. I met him at a large meetup about 4 years ago. It was let's see, no, it was before COVID. It was about 6 years ago then, 5 years ago then. And he said that Charlottesville really kicked him in the pants because half of his family is Jewish, the other half is Irish Catholic, and the Irish Catholic side of his family is much more accepting and supporting of hardcore patriot stuff, white nationalist stuff, because they sort of feel like the underdogs in their own country, and their Irish family in Ireland feels the same way. But the Jewish half of his family are like all psycho-communist shit libs, and they act like everybody who cares about white people should be burned at the stake. And he said that they've been that way since he was a kid. And so that really drove him away from the Jewish side of his family, and he hates it entirely. So, you know, being half and half, I feel bad for mixed race people. That's got to be hard when half of your family is one way and half is another. That must be really hard. But he is hardcore MAGA, hardcore, you know, American patriot and all of that. And it makes me wonder. He's from New England. I won't say exactly where, but this guy, this Beatty guy, I think he's also from the East Coast, but I don't know where. But remember this for us talking about what's coming up with Gaza and Israel. There are probably a lot of people that Trump knows who are from New England, especially New York, who are like this. Probably there are a lot of Jewish people who see the psychotic insanity firsthand through their family, that all the religious wackadoos of Judaism, all of these nut jobs behind Netanyahu that want to create forever war so they usher in super Israel or whatever their religious end game is. Then they have
super Israel,
and
it's
of
like
course
Israel, but it's 1,000 times better. Sorry.
And then, of course, growing up in New York as a Jewish person with Jewish family, obviously, you know, the disgusting anti-white fellow whites in media and comedy and Hollywood and stuff. And I'm sure that there are plenty of people that have Jewish ancestry and Jewish family that hate it, just like we hate it. And so a lot of those people, they might be like I can see how those people would gravitate towards Trump and why he might be sort of straddling the fence between the Zionist people and the we don't like all this Jewish insanity people that are still Jewish. So let's go ahead now and talk about Trump's claim about settling and rebuilding Gaza. Let's move to that.
It's going to be the best Gaza. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a Gaza like you've never seen before. Everyone's going to want to come there. We're going to be holidaying on the beach of skulls. It's a great place to hang out in the evening. Take your shishka. actually, someone I saw this on Twitter. Actually, wait, where the hell is this?
We have more paid chats just came in. Oh my God!
Paid chat.
Thank you. Thank you for the.
I'll look this up. This is dark, but also kind of very funny as well.
Okay.
Where is it?
We have something else from Texas Man. He sends us $6. Thank you very much, Texas Man. He says we need to focus on our own internal Jews to fix our problems. I think there's a lot of people, Jewish and non-Jewish, in the government who might agree with that statement. Now, let's see here, and I think that's it. I got a ping on my phone, but it wasn't Cash App. It was just some stupid news thing. So that's all. Yeah, go ahead and tell us what's going on with the whole Trump rebuilding Gaza shit. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll start talking about it.
Okay, so look, I actually covered this in some detail on my show tonight. Happening TV, you can watch it Monday and Thursday. www.newsfist.net. Check it out. Buy it. It's free. So Trump basically, the way I read this basically is that Trump was like trying to wrong foot Netanyahu, right? When Netanyahu first turned up, he was all smiling. He was all doing like the classic sort of goblin kind of, man, Netanyahu gives me the creeps. Like, not going to lie, that guy, he creeps me out, right?
Like, there's a reason why we call him Satan Yahoo. Like, he looks evil.
He smiles like he's like, oh, dude, right?
Yeah.
And so, the first meeting with Trump, he was very, very happy, right? Trump was talking about how they're going to move the Palestinians out. And Netanyahu clearly thought like, this is it, right? We're going to get all of Gaza back, migrate to Israel, all this kind of like shit. And then later at the press conference, he just comes out and he's like, oh yeah, like America's going to take over Gaza. And Netanyahu had this look on his face. Obviously, he's a seasoned politician, so he wouldn't ever do something so de rigueur as like let a proper emotion show on his face. But if you're careful, if you've watched a lot of politics like I have, right, it's clear to see he was not expecting this, right?
No.
And this is very, very interesting because Netanyahu clearly just wants the Gazans out. The Palestinians out so they can take Gaza. There are these huge gas fields off the shore that they can then develop. If America steps in, it's going to complicate all of this kind of like stuff. And Trump has basically said, we're gonna let the Palestinians come back. We're gonna like rebuild it, but we're not going to pay for it. So the only way they could really pay for it is if they developed that gas field and gave the Gazans like a portion of the money and said to them, right, this is your last chance, right? You gotta forsake violence, but if you do it, we'll give you like all of this money. We'll help you rebuild. We'll do like all of this stuff. Get somebody neutral to be like a peacekeeper, like, I don't know, the Jordanians or, some neutral country to come in and do like from the Riviera to the sea.
Yeah. No, I didn't see that stumbling. Tag me again on Twitter. I'll look at it.
Chef's kiss, mate. Oh, mate, that's primo.
Sorry, before we move on, let me just Jason sent us $10, the No White Guilt guy, Mr. Jason Kuna, and he says, fire tonight, gentlemen. Folk tithe and kip. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Jason. Good to see you on Al Jazeera. You've made it when AJ writes a hit piece about you, mate. You've made it. You're on the map.
Yeah.
So the real question is, how is any of this going to work? Was Trump just basically throwing this out to essentially like troll the Israelis? There's been some like quite good commentary basically saying that given that there's such a stalemate, Trump was like, how can I mix this up a little bit, right? Like, and of course, he's the head of the United States, so he could, And this marks a bit of a move back to like old school politics, you know, protectorates and like, you know, we're just gonna take the land, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, of course, is like, oh, but what about the United Nations, right? Like America gives a fuck about the United Nations. Like, come on, right? They only care about the United Nations when they can use the United Nations to punish their enemies, right? Otherwise, they don't give a shit. They haven't given a shit about the United Nations.
Yeah, that's one of the things I hate about the UN and NATO is it's the stupid police that has kept Europe in shackles for decades. I hate it. I want it all gone. I want Europe to flourish, and I want all the countries of Europe to self-determine away from America's stupid, poisonous world police. But anyway,
it sounds like fascism to me.
Oh yeah, of course,
nationalism.
How dare you let different ethnicities self-govern? How dare? That sounds like fascism. So the reason that I wanted to talk about this is I have some ideas. So there are many things that we know, right? We know that the American machine is bigger than Trump. It's bigger than MAGA. It's bigger than all of us. This machine has been at play for at least 80 years since the big horrible brother wars. It desires resources, primarily energy, because it makes all of its own money, right? So obviously, this will please deep state people. This will please a lot of pro-Israel, pro-Jewish people. This will also please a lot of regular people of any race or type that just want the violence and the terrorism to stop. And this is the most important part. It could be, if this is Trump's angle, it could be an immense power play to smack Netanyahu, sit the crazy Jews in Israel down and say, look, you lunatics, you have to be still. You have to behave because you've gotten out of hand. Like, it could be this, because think about it. What happens if Trump of the United States actually brings real peace and stops this psycho Hetfield and McCoy back and forth between the Palestinians and the Israelis, right? They're practically the same kind of person from the same area fighting over the same piece of land. And I say Hetfield and McCoys because it's like a family feud over the same mountain holler with these desert yahoos, right? So, yeah, I don't like how Israel was formed. I don't like the war machine. It was ugly what was done. We all agree on that. But what's done is done, right? So Trump might be looking at this and he might say, hey, I want America to do well. I want to bring peace. And if I can do those things and please a bunch of these deep state war machine assholes, please a bunch of these central banking assholes, and also make these lunatics that are trying to stir up shit constantly in the Middle East and get everybody pulled into Megiddo, maybe if I can sit them down, smack them across the face and make everybody behave, we get peace, we get money, we get access to a nice, what is it, natural gas? Is that what it is over there?
Yeah, it's natural gas, yeah.
So they get access to a nice natural gas node, and Trump gets to look like a big shot for bringing peace. But at the same time, it's also a power play. He's going to flex on Israel and say, look here, behave, and we're all going to get along, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's what I think could happen. Now let's take a little more.
Can I just make a point here?
Go ahead. Well, right? I have a darker skeptical view on this. Go ahead.
They have got the Trump and all of them. They have got to stop the millennialists and the apocalypticists.
Yes.
Right. You have substantial groups of people running around, Israelis, Christian Zionists, the environmentalists, who are either believers in or actively trying to bring about the apocalypse. Right. Yeah. And these people are crazy. You cannot let these people anywhere near government. Right. And much of the right wing Jews that form Netanyahu's base are like this. I would argue that quite a few of the Christian Zionists are like this as well. The Palestinians are probably a bit like this as well. I don't know exactly what brand of Islam they're into, but they're certainly like you, and the Greens as well, of course. Right? Oh my God, you've got this whole thing that we're heading towards an apocalypse, or we got to bring about the apocalypse, has really dominated like so much of the world for the last 20 years. The prophets of doom. Oh my God, we're all gonna die, right? Like you've got to eat the bugs and live in the pod, otherwise like people in Africa might die. I'm past it now. I don't care, right? Like I really like, oh my God, right? Like what if the earth heats by 1.5 degrees? We'll deal with it. We will deal with it. If the earth heats by 1.5 degrees, right? Like look back through history and all of the technical marvels, right? That man has accomplished. You're seriously telling me we can't deal with a 1.5 degree like rise? Oh, the weather, I'm sick of it, right? Like just think of better technical, high energy solutions that do not involve everyone having to eat the bugs and be in the pod. Right. So sorry, Yiz, please go on. You
Oh,
had a
no,
darker,
that's fine. No, it's
darker vision?
we share the stream. It's all good. The other thing I wanted to talk about with this is let's take a more skeptical, black-pilled view on this, right? Another thing that I want to bring up, a lot of the things I just said could be the case if Trump really isn't what we hope he is. If the Zionists and the War Machine people and the Malthusians are getting their way, and the War Machine's getting its way, they want to bring peace to get Israel in line, to have a stable Israel as a launch point, as a beachhead against India, China, Russia, and Iran. Because think about it. If what we want happens, right, and there's a cessation of the war machine, we start breaking down NATO and the UN, we start pulling out of Europe and letting Europe self-determine, that we want, right? I think that's a moral good. But I know the war machine and these evil Zionist crazy people and the Malthusians don't think that way. They want global war. They want Megiddo in the Middle East. They want another brother war in Europe. So on the black pill skeptical side of things, we need to pay attention, and we need to not be, we don't need to get high on copium and stop paying attention, because maybe this is just a way to try to get a secure foothold to make the lunatics in Israel settle down, so the American machine can have a stronger, more permanent, stable foothold in the Middle East as a beachhead, as a bastion against whatever's coming from BRICS, whatever's coming from the East. And it could just be more ramping up War Machine and international geographic posturing for an upcoming world war.
Actually, so, Handsome 2 on Rumble mentioned something that's quite germane to this. I remember seeing something that said that Trump had basically said if he's left plans that if he's assassinated, the US will attack Iran. Now, that would give certain people, let's say, who wanted a war with Iran, a real reason to assassinate him. I'm not sure if that's like such a smart move. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is always a possibility. I don't know. It doesn't seem.
I just want people to know that I'm not like huffing copium and seeing what I want to see. I'm telling you the good and the bad, and I'm telling you that a lot of good is going on right now in America, but there's also some sneaky stuff going on, like about the Gaza stuff. Well, where are all these Palestinians going to go? You have Trump, you have Zionists, you have MAGA people, you have folks in the international community of Europe wanting to send all of these Palestinians not to places where they belong, like Egypt and Jordan and shit like that. No, they want to send them to Ireland. They want to send them to the UK. They want to send them to America. Why? They don't fit. They would fit in far worse here. So that's really sus, isn't it? So, well, just keep your eye on what's going on, and it's okay to be happy with the good stuff, but don't let it anesthetize you to stop paying attention and let bad things happen on your watch. That's what our forefathers did in the 1900s. We can't let that happen.
Well, there is a strain of Jewish Hamitic apocalypticism that basically says that the Messiah will only come back once all of the Jews in the world have gathered within the state of Israel. So, perhaps some of these religious extremists are like, well, the best way to make sure they all return to Israel is by, dumping a bunch of Palestinians in Western countries. I don't know. I mean, this is the point about these, crazy religious extremists. You've got no idea what they might do, right? Like, so I don't know.
Now look at that. Don just said already 3,000 Gazans heading for Australia.
G'day, Allahu Akbar, mate. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm sure they'll be exfiltrating them out. But again, if Trump does actually manage to make Gaza like a nice place, that will counteract a lot of that. And if they can take the sting out of Gaza, it will take a lot of the sting out of radical Islam as it currently exists. I personally think that if the Palestinian question were resolved, they just find another thing to be all extreme about, to be perfectly honest. But,
And before we get out of here, I do want to say there are a lot of good things happening outside of Washington, outside of executive orders. Because if you pay attention, like I follow several America First Telegram channels, I have seen dozens of victories in the last few months of them celebrating successfully pushing corrupt people out of local office, taking back PTAs, taking over local schools, getting better governors, better sheriffs, that kind of thing. There is a lot of change going on in America right now, and a lot of it is for the good, and I think it's genuine good. So there are things to be happy about, right? So celebrate the good and network with people who are not just, yay, let's return to the 90s and I want a better economy. Like, and saying that, let me show my latest Substack for everyone. I finally put out another Substack this week. And
yeah, I liked it.
Would
recommend.
Thank you very much. It's called I Want Justice, Not Money. And it's like most of my Substacks, it's not very long. You can read it in 10 minutes. It's pretty short, and I want you guys to read it. I don't put up many articles, but when I do, I want you guys to read them because it's important for us to think this way. We can't be dissuaded by, oh, look, there's not blatant anti-whiteism in TV anymore. Let's go back to sleep. Or, oh, hey, look, the economy's doing great. I guess everything's fine. I'm just going to check out and not care if I'm biologically white or racist in my own country. Like, that's the theme of this article. And you should read it. I think it's pretty good. So, Mr. Newsfist, I have shared and said everything I wanted to on the topic today. What would you like to say on the way out tonight?
I would just like to say that, well, number one, I'm very happy for you, Ameribros. Like really, I'm jealous as hell, but I'm also very happy. But I also hope that the ripples of the Trump effect will reach across the ocean to the UK and possibly just dislodge the terrible state that we're in. I've been saying for a while that I really hope that when it comes to the trade wars, Trump will basically start saying to countries like the UK, if you want to be part of our trade area, you got to be a Western liberal democracy. And if you want to call yourself a Western liberal democracy, you got to start acting like one, right? You got to stop locking your people up for speech. You got to stop all this like crazy mass migration. You got to have equality under the law. You got to get rid of DEI, all of this like stuff. And I reckon there's a good chance that Trump could apply enough pressure combined with pressure from the population if they start seeing, excuse me, pardon me, if they start seeing America doing really well, that this could actually push the UK in the direction of being less insane.
And I hope so. You guys need it.
Oh, mate, we need it so much. Have we got any more super chats?
I just looked and no, we do not. So I think that's it. We can wrap her up. I had a wonderful time, and I'll close by saying something simple. Be smart, be even-keeled, seek nuance. It's not all one or the other with anything. There's always nuance and gray area. And be wise, be intelligent. Don't be easily misled by media and comfort. And also, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So judge yourself, judge others, judge what's going on with an even keel and seek nuance. And I think that's where you'll find peace and the right way to think and act on things. So that's what I try to do. And I think my life's better for it. And I want you guys to do the same. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Yeah. You can never realize the perfect. That's what all the climate retards and the religious fanatics are going around constantly being like,
and the
we've got to change the world. And the communists, we've got to change it, make it perfect. No. It will never be perfect, right? It will just, if it's good, then it's good, right? Yep. Keep it good. Don't destroy the good searching for some weird goddamn utopia of any kind, right? Like, as it says in the Bible, the poor will always be with you. Right, the problematic people, I hate that word, will always be with you. Right, just make it good. And thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for all the people who super chatted. I guess we'll see you next week.
Indeed. And again, like always, Mr. Newsfist, you can find him over on Rumble, Odyssey, and YouTube at Newsfist. He streams like I do on Mondays and Thursdays. He streams at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK. And I stream at 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UK. So we'll see you guys Monday for Habiting TV and Discord of Dragons. Have a blessed weekend, and may we know victory one day.
However, I'd just like to add, my search engine optimization is bloody terrible. So if you want to find my channels, best way to do it is www.newsfist.net. Because if you search for me on YouTube, you get a weird Sri Lankan news channel called News First, and I can't get around the SEO. So find me that way, and please. Right. Like, share, and subscribe. Good night, everyone.
Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Keep heart.
Bye.